when you go into a farm where the grass is a little bit shorter, like right there where she's standing, you'll see a domination of bluegrass. So bluegrass can tolerate really close grazing, and it'll just stay there. The problem with bluegrass is it doesn't stockpile very well because it's a thinner root. It doesn't have as much growth on the top. What we're after in Missouri, and you've got it here, you've got some fescue. That is our primary grass. See, you've got some orchard grass. Orchard grass is a wonderful grass, except for it doesn't stockpile as well as fescue. So fescue, it'll stay green all winter long. This is fescue right here, I believe. It'll stay green all winter long. It doesn't grow, but it'll stay green.
What kind of fescue?
Well, we don't plant it. We have the bad one. We got the Kentucky 31. That's the one that's got the indified in it. Y'all familiar with that?
No.
Okay,
But
so
I think it's generally full fescue versus meadow fescue.
yeah, right. Well, the Kentucky 31 has a toxin in it, and the toxin restricts blood flow to the extremities of your animals. One good thing about Kentucky 31, though, it's a beast. You can stomp it to death, you can overgraze it, you can do whatever you want to it, you're not going to kill it. It'll just come back. And what I like about Kentucky 31 is if you get a 4-inch rain overnight and you've got a whole herd on it, don't worry about it. There won't be any mud showing hardly at all. It's got a real heavy sod that holds cattle up. So it stays green through the winter. It doesn't grow, but it's our only unfair advantage we have in Missouri for forage is Kentucky 31. So I'm not going to kill it.
How palatable is the bluegrass?
The bluegrass is pretty palatable. Yeah, it's just not a, folks. It's just when you look at it, there's not much there. Okay. Now in the springtime, it'll get taller than that. Going into the fall, like where she's standing, that's not going to feed a cow very well. But they're gonna nail that because it's tender. They'll try and get their lips on that and get some of that.
Greg, would you pasture this one more time? Because basically by the 30th of October, we're emptying out the Cape John pasture. Most of our cattle are on feed.
Here's what I would do. I would skip a couple of these just because if you do that, these paddocks are going to come on so much earlier in the spring,
Right.
versus if you graze it off.
Right.
So if you graze it off right now, you don't have enough time for it to come back. It's going to hurt it next spring. It's going to be slower to start growing again.
That's what I was thinking. Keep bale grazing, maybe bale graze this ridge, but stop the rotations.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of feed out here, and you're actually going to be damaging quite a few plants.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the toxin in the fescue you've got?
How do you deal with it?
Yeah, like does it?
How do you deal with the toxin in the fescue? Right here.
Okay.
Clover dilutes the toxin.
Okay.
Orchard grass dilutes the toxin. Bluegrass, it's all about diversity. You don't want a monoculture of Kentucky 31 or you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Folks, it restricts the blood flow to their feet. And you'll see a cow start limping. She won't be able to put any weight on her foot. And it starts swelling right above the hoof. And they can lose a hoof. In extreme instances, they can lose a hoof. So what we do is if a cow comes down a fescue foot, we watch her, and in 10 days, they're usually over it.
Yeah.
If they're not,
She comes
gone.
out.
You sell them.
What about in sheep?
Sheep, they don't bother sheep. That's the cool thing about sheep. Sheep can eat a bushel basket full of fescue seed heads, which is where the toxin is the highest.
Right.
It doesn't bother them. Darn things, I don't know what it is about a sheep. They're just tough, I guess. I don't know. They can eat a whole, so I like sheep. And in the springtime, that fescue seed head gets on, they'll go around the paddock and they'll clip all these off.
Right.
What is a seed head, folks? What is it?
Reproduction.
It's seed. It's grain. Mark Bader used to give me crap all the time. You're not a grass farmer, you're a grain farmer. 'Cause my cattle are eating grain. Well, in one respect, it is a grain. But yeah, keep diversity in there, keep them moving. If you graze the plants down real short on fescue, folks, the first 2 inches that coming out of the ground, it's really high in toxin.
Okay.
And so don't graze that fescue down too
So keep your animals in one day.
What's that?
Keep your animals in the field one day, and then
Yeah, how often do you
1 to
rotate
2.
your animals? It all depends on your labor
Right.
available. I mean, if you both work in town, and you don't have time to move them every day, I would go out on Saturday afternoons and I'd put in all my paddocks for the whole week. And I have quite a few reels,
Right.
and I use step-in posts. I just step them in,
Right.
and then when I get done, I just roll it up. And you don't need a back fence, folks. You don't need a back fence as long as you're moving them every day. Now, when you go to 2 days, they're going to go back on what they were on.
Right.
But as long as you move them every day or half a day, you do not need a back fence. I'll tell you why. The cattle have fouled that area over there.
Right.
They've walked on it, pooped on it, stepped on it, peed on it. You put them on this new paddock, yes, they got to go back across what they were on to get a drink. They're not going to graze that.
But they won't
They're going to
stop.
be right here.
They'll come back.
This is where all the good feed is, right here.
Yeah.
That's the advantage of moving your animals more frequently. You don't need to put in a back fence. Up to 4 days.
Up to 4 days.
On the 4th day, you better,
Move them. Yeah.
because they're going to be back by that water tank,
Right.
regrazing.
Right.
Just remember this, folks. The most vulnerable time of a plant in its whole life is right after it's been grazed.
Right.
It's trying to grow back. And that animal reaches out to that tongue and rips off another chunk of it. No good. Katie's wanting to get us going, I think.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to